All right, everyone, we are inside the StoryLearning School of courses, and I have access to quite a few of them, but the one I want to show you was Spanish Uncovered because it's recently had a bit of an update. And this is one of the things that you also get with StoryLearning is that they are continuously updating and improving the old courses. They're adding new content to them and kind of refining the method. You know, some of these courses have been out for quite a few years, so it was time for a little, refresh. But so that's why I'm going to show you Spanish Uncovered Level 1 for beginners. And we'll go through just quickly, honestly, because I think it'll kind of make sense on its own. And you can always check the links in the description if you want to read a more extended description of the courses. And of course, you can check all the reviews. Like there's literally tens of thousands of students. I think on the review page itself, they have something like 1,500 testimonials and reviews about the courses. So this is the real deal. And you'll be able to find all that information. But let's just quickly run through it so you can see how it works. It is a self-study course, so you won't have any direct kind of contact with a teacher like you would if you were doing tutoring or some kind of school program. But there's a community associated, which I didn't mention before, but you can join this community for free as part of your purchase. And in there, they have tutors assigned, language experts assigned, and of course the other students. So if you want to network, you want to ask any question you want about the course or any of the content, you just jump in there and you get the help you need. But it is predominantly a self-study course. So for people who are not really disciplined enough to do that, this is not the course for you. You should look at a tutoring program or some kind of guided program. So we got the method quick start. I mentioned this briefly before. This is kind of like a how to learn a language section. And we're jumping into kind of how to use the course. Of course, a lot of information here. And again, it's just trying to optimize the experience. You know, a lot of courses will just kind of throw you in at the deep end. And here's a bunch of Spanish, and here's how, just get started, basically. So it's good that this didn't used to be here, by the way, at the beginning when the course came out. It was a little bit more, let's say, raw than this, but they've used some time to add all this. And I think that really adds to student success. But anyway, I'm waffling on. So chapter 1, let's take this as an example, because this is a module. And there are 10 of these in each course. And this is kind of the way it works. So you get a syllabus, of course, which is what you're going to go through. And then you've got the core content, which is the story. Nice animations there as well. And you can listen to the story. And it's worth pointing out that for languages that have different distinct accents, they typically offer alternatives. So Spanish Uncovered, for instance, has both Iberian Spanish and also Latin American Spanish here, which I believe, don't quote me on that, but I think I think they take Mexico as kind of not a lingua franca, but like a relatively neutral Latin American Spanish. So that's what they use here, because obviously otherwise you'd have all the Spanish-speaking countries, and that might be a bit too much. And I know for the French, they have Quebecois French for Canada as well. So those things are provided. And so here's the main lesson, or this is what the lessons look like. And it is fully immersive initially. You're just supposed to read it and listen to it and see how much you can understand. And of course, the instructions are in the course. We didn't go over that. Again, the different things. And you can see the activity, recognize cognates. So that's the story, or the chapter, sorry, for this module. And we can go over here to see one of the first videos, which is teaching about cognates, which is super useful. And this will really boost your vocabulary. So Uncovered throughout, no matter which Uncovered course you use, there's a tremendous amount of work and effort put on cognates, because it's just such a free way to increase your vocabulary. Of course, there are false friends as well, which are mentioned periodically. And here's the translation, so you can see if you understood most of the story. If you're a complete beginner, obviously this feels a little bit difficult, for sure. And that's by design. You want to push yourself. But you can see it's relatively simple sentences. And when you break them down, even if you don't speak Spanish, you can kind of get the context. And that's what they call comprehensible input as well, by the way. Comprehensible input is not about understanding every single word or every single grammar aspect. It's about, do you understand the meaning that's being tried to convey here? And that's so that's it. And so you get a variety of these lessons, and they vary for each module, of course, because each section of the story is kind of different and it lends itself to different lessons. So here's a cognitive translation, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, talking about culture, and then some speaking activities. This is also a good one. I mentioned before that there's no direct tutoring connection in this course. So you could take this and bring it to your actual tutor and say, hey, I just learned this in my course. Can you practice this with me? So that's what it's kind of there for. And that's also included in most Uncovered courses. Maybe all of them, actually. I haven't double checked all of them, but it's definitely there in most of them. And then you review the module. Obviously, you're supposed to go through it quite a lot. And once you've gone through it, you can listen to it again, see if you picked up more. And then you have a quiz to test, and you're on to the next one. And you can go into the community to share your experience. And but really, I think when I was talking to Olly, the founder of StoryLearning, about this a couple of years ago, and he said, the time it takes to go through a course is well over 100 hours. Not because there's 100 hours of videos. That would also be a lot for let's say teaching videos, but it's because you're supposed to repeat it so much, to get it in terms of pronunciation practice, but also in terms of just listening comprehension. So this module, you look at the story and you say, well, it's a relatively short chapter, right? But if you're just starting out, some of these sentences are actually quite complicated. So listening and reading this, let's say 20 times the first time you go through it, and then review it a week or two later, that's really the minimum kind of effort I would expect to really be successful in this. So that's why the kind of study time gets up there. And that's why this is such a good deal for, let's say, $97, because if you had to get that much study time, let's say, of content or work in let's just say an after school project or course, it would be something like $300, $400 for a term, and you do like 2 hours a week or something, So that's basically it. You got your 10 lessons, and you just go through that, and there's some call outs to join the community, of course, and that's basically it. And once you've done that, you are finished with the course. And there are some, more options down here, and you can go further to the next levels. Of course, there's 2 levels for beginner and 2 levels for intermediate and 2 levels for advanced for Spanish, as we mentioned before. So this has been a brief overview of the Uncovered Black Friday deal. And like I said, links in the description below. This offer expires December 2nd, so it's worth taking advantage of. It won't be back for another year at least. And obviously there's never any guarantees that these deals will return. Of course, it's likely because they've repeated this offer for a couple of years in a row now. Obviously bringing out new offers and new courses along the way as well. So do take advantage of that if you want to learn a new language in 2025, or if you're watching this in the future, 2020, whatever. I really think this is the best Black Friday deal, and these might be the best self-study courses available, full stop. So check them out, and if you have any questions, if you want to check out the reviews, if you want to check out the courses, do check out the description below. So this has been Chris for Actual Fluency, and if you're already invested in this, or you looking for something else or a language that isn't covered, do be sure to go to actualfluency.com. I'm always listing as many Black Friday deals as I can find on all kinds of language learning courses and products. So check it out, and I'll see you in another video.